I started something today. There's no going back now. You see this? That's a bunch of wood. And I bought it with one purpose. My old buddy Derek DeYoung, he's been trying to get me back into this for a while. But I finally did it. I've committed. I bought a bunch of wood with the sole purpose of making some sign art. It's a long story. We better sit down. So, when I was in high school, I was pretty depressed to the point that I was writing suicide notes. I didn't care about my life. I was scrawny. I was super pale. I didn't have any confidence. I was awkward. All the things. I was good at a few things. I was really good at water skiing. I was good at fishing, and I was good at drawing. But I also had a secret addiction that nobody knew about. And that addiction brought me so much internal shame. So during that period, my grandmother passed away, and my dad decided that we, as a family, were going to start going to church. And we were going to go to Grandma's church, and it was a 45-minute drive every Sunday, and I can't even tell you how much I hated it. I hated it with a passion. People were praising God, raising their hands, and I don't even know why, but it made me so mad, and I would just vent the whole way home about how much I hated it, and my parents, God bless them, they just listened. So a few months in, they decided that we were going to move closer to the church. So they moved us from Plainwell, Michigan to Grand Rapids, Michigan. And during that time, I watched my parents change. Their marriage became better. They became better. I didn't realize it, but it was softening my heart. And at one point, they asked me to go to this youth group event. I was 17 years old. I went reluctantly. I did not want to be there. I sat in the back so nobody would bug me. And as the pastor began to share about Jesus, I felt what I can only describe as the most supernatural thing I had ever felt. It was like God was pouring so much of His love on my heart that all the shame that I had in my heart just left. And I was completely changed, like literally in every way. That moment completely changed my life. I no longer wanted the disgusting addictions that I had. I was confident. I was excited about life. I can't even explain it. To this day, I can't explain it. It's been 35 years or something. And over the past 35 years, I have a million other stories that I could tell you about how God has shaped my life since that moment. So, long story short, when we moved, I noticed there was a sign shop down the road from our house. And so, having always loved drawing, I went to the sign shop, asked for a job, and lo and behold, they gave me a job. And now keep in mind, this was the mid-'80s, 88, and signs were still hand-painted back then. None of it had gone computerized yet. So the guys at the sign shop taught me how to hand letter. I'm sure they thought hand lettering was going to be how signs were made forever. So they taught me how to hand letter. I spent probably 2 years really learning it, becoming good at it. And then all of a sudden, the whole sign business went to computers and vinyl cutters. So I learned that stuff too, and I enjoyed that. I did a lot of commercial work, truck lettering, stuff like that. But I really had an itch for the traditional hand-lettered signs. So one day, I decided I was going to make some antique-style signs. They had to be hand-lettered, right, to look authentic. So I did that, and I was so excited about those first few pieces that I made. It was like a revelation to me. This could be something. So I began making the vintage style signs. I did sell some, but most of them I gave away as gifts and things like that to friends and family. So I grew up fishing, but in my early 20s, I became interested in fly fishing, very interested in fly fishing, and pretty quickly it became an all-consuming hobby for me. So a lot of the vintage signs that I was starting to make were taking on a fly fishing theme, just because that's what I was passionate about. By my mid-20s, my wife and I got married. We began building our family. I was still very involved working at the local sign shop, and I decided on a whim I was going to submit my story to a few magazines, and to my surprise, I got published in a few things, and I began taking on a lot of orders for the vintage signs after that. So I began working, endlessly, moonlighting in my basement doing these signs for clients I was picking up from the magazine articles, and also working a full-time job. Somewhere in there I got a call from the decorator of a big restaurant chain called Max and Irma's Restaurants, and they ordered a few pieces of my work, and that's all it was going to be, but they loved them so much it snowballed into this massive 12-year thing where they ordered $1.5 million of my work over that 12-year period. So the money was pouring in. I was working hard. We bought a big house. My wife quit her job, became a stay-home mom, and man, did my kids benefit from that. So around 2002, I was probably 5 years into being self-employed as an artist, and I was really feeling burned out. I needed something else. I wasn't going to quit doing what I was doing, but I needed something. So I thought I would start guiding. I had done a little bit of that in the past, and I enjoyed it, so I started guiding a little bit here and there. I bought a new drift boat, began running trips on my local river. I loved it and I hated it at the same time. I thought just because I was pretty good at fishing that I'd be a good guide. In hindsight, that was really naive. So one of the other guides, Kevin Feenstra, he had been guiding for 5 years or so longer than me, was way better at it than me, and he could see that I was struggling. He took me under his wings. We became really good friends. He taught me so much about guiding that I would have never learned on my own. So thankful for that. 2008, I had my hands in guiding, the vintage signs. I was doing some commercial sign work. We were living good. My income just kept climbing and climbing every year. I figured at some point my income was going to level off. Never in a million years thought it was going to do what happened next. So in 2008, the housing market crashed really hard and our economy tanked. Most of my eggs were in the Max and Irma's Restaurant decor basket, and they filed bankruptcy. And that didn't bode well for my finances after that. So our income dropped like a rock overnight. We went through some tough years. We lost our big house. We sold all of our furniture, just trying to make ends meet. We had to start over, completely start over. Times were tough, and man, I could tell you 100 stories of God's faithfulness through that time, despite me feeling like a total failure. I tried so hard during those next few years to find another avenue for the vintage signs, and it just wasn't happening. Luckily, guide trips continued to become more plentiful as I slowly made a name for myself in the fly fishing field. And although we really had to downsize our lifestyle, we were willing to, and we did it. So fast forward to now, I've been guiding 23 years, full-time since 2010, very fulfilled in what I'm doing. We've rebuilt financially as well. We've built our own home. We've gotten out of debt. Never thought I'd have my dream home with no mortgage, but here we are, thanks to God. I've even been fulfilled this whole time as an artist, creating artful fly fishing flies for displays. I'm sure you've seen them. And that's been fun and super successful. and I'm blown away and so grateful. God got us through those hard things with our faith intact, and honestly even stronger than it was back then. It was a lot of character building times there. So over the last year, I've had some thoughts of trying the vintage sign thing again. And through the encouragement of a few really good friends, I decided maybe I'll give it a go. My friend Michael requested a custom piece last winter, and I agreed to it. And picking up a brush again felt like walking in an old pair of comfortable shoes. It just felt good. I enjoyed it. One of my best friends, Derek DeYoung, he's been one of the biggest fans of my old work for so long, and he's been a huge part of me rekindling my art as well. Thank you to Derek so much for your constant encouragement. So at this point, I'm not totally sure where this is all going to go. I'm not quitting guiding. I've committed myself to probably 10 or 12 pieces over the winter to do. Those will be for sale. I'm also in my mid-50s, and slowing down a little bit from guiding sounds pretty good, actually. I'm definitely not going to quit anytime soon. We'll see. So I made a YouTube video a couple weeks ago, sort of about dabbling with the sign stuff again, and it was received super well. I'm so thankful and encouraged by all of the positive encouragement that I got from that. So we'll see where it goes. Maybe I'll be full-time back at it. Maybe I won't, but wherever it goes, I'm just gonna enjoy it, and I'm not gonna get burned out. So we'll see what happens. So wish me luck. Thank you for watching.